You're listening to Phoenix FM, community radio for Dublin 15.
This is Impact Wrestling superstar Cowboy James Storm, and you're listening to the International Desk. And if you're not, sorry about your damn luck.
Hello everybody, it is Saturday here on WViDesk 2016 on our YouTube channel and of course on Phoenix 92.5 FM every Monday. This is episode 302, and again, it's been a while. Very, very sorry for all the technical issues. Everything that went wrong could possibly go wrong when I tried this myself last week when I was trying to do this specific stream. Still a couple of kinks trying to get things sorted out here, but we are getting there, and if there's any hiccups or anything, that's why, but everything should be fine. We have a live chat going, of course, over on the YouTube channel. Drop in your comments, thoughts, opinions, all that kind of stuff. And also, if you want to call in, you can at WViDesk 2016 on Skype. I am not alone. I am joined by the one, the only, Mr. Dave Stevens. How are things, Dave?
Things are great. Nice to be back with you, sir.
Yes, man, it really is. Thank you so much for taking the time and putting up with all the technical issues, because there's been a lot. there's been a lot. You know, it's a lot more work when you're doing this on YouTube than one would think. But hey, we'll get there, and we have a lot. We have 3 weeks worth of material to talk about. Specifically, Great Balls of Fire though as well. So,
what a ridiculous name for a pay-per-view.
Yeah,
and what a ridiculous pay-per-view to end up being good. I'm lost. I'm just lost.
I don't think anybody expected it to be as good as it was. Everybody, including myself, thought it was going to be an absolute train wreck. And, you know, it kind of was, but in a good way. You know, I was watching it, and the whole 2 weeks from Slammiversary to Great Balls of Fire was actually a fun week in wrestling. You know, two shows that nobody expected to be good were actually quite good. So, fair play, WWE and GFW.
GFW.
Well, do you want to talk about Great Balls of Fire first, or do you want to talk about the TNA Impact Wrestling? Pretty much the whole part of the show, which I recorded but doesn't exist anymore. Thank you.
Is that a real question?
Yes, it is a real question.
Do I want to start with TNA or? You know what? Let's do it. Let's start with TNA, because I can learn something from you about TNA.
Okay. Well,
and we can get it out of the way, because TNA, for crying out
loud. There's been a lot on the TNA side of things. Pretty much, in 1 week they went from being called TNA to Impact Wrestling to Global Force Wrestling, and then all the way back to Scandalville, with their current champion embroiled in a scandal with his girlfriend, along with all the mess that was there. So there is a lot to unpack. But let's start with the big news that TNA is dead. There is no more TNA. It's literally just Impact Wrestling. Then that's dead. And now it's just Global Force Wrestling. So it's not TNA Impact Wrestling. It's GFW Impact. And if you look at the front page, which is up on the screen now, of WrestleView, you'll see that there's no longer an Impact or TNA tab. It's just GFW, and that's what they are. And they further made this clearer with all the press releases that they're sending, and also with the conference call they had during the week, which Adam Martin was on. I didn't get a chance to go on it, but apparently it was a lot of fun. I was asked, I couldn't do it, but there is a link on the front page of WrestleView.com where you guys can listen to that full conference call, which had Grado and Jeremy Borash and stuff as well. So do check it out, guys.
Amazing.
Yeah, well, look, dude, so much crazy things have happened with GFW. Okay, we said last time you were on the show actually was the pre-show at Slammiversary, and we said, you know, who's going to win? And all my predictions were skewed in the favor of Impact Wrestling. Like, what do you think?
Right.
Yeah, it made sense, you know. It's because GFW wasn't booked strongly going into it. Like, it didn't look like they were going to even be a thing, you know. And we're programmed because of the invasion angle that, you know, the invaders are going to lose. But in this case, they kind of won. What do you feel about that? Do you think this you're not a TNA fan? You know, look, it's going to be very hard for me to not call it TNA because that's what it is. But I'm going to try. Me as a Global Force Wrestling fan, when they were this is a mess, but fair play to all the guys who work in PR for TNA, Impact Wrestling, Global Force Wrestling, because that's a tough job to try and keep that straight. But as a fan of that product, I was used to calling it one thing, and the way they book, you're like, okay, this is what they're going to do. But they seem to really now just drop everything, and even on the show itself, Global Force Wrestling was first and foremost. All the title belts, where this is, even though they're all unification matches, a lot there was very little graphic. There's no graphics actually for Impact Wrestling. It was just, this is Global Force Wrestling's world champion, tag team champion, all that kind of stuff. Do you feel this is a good move? Feel that had a move that had to be made? Are you surprised about the timing that it was made, or what do you think?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm most surprised about, and that's why I've kind of been silently chuckling over here. If you Google TNA Wrestling, it redirects you to Global Force Wrestling. Like, they're on top of their stuff. On Wikipedia, if you search for TNA Wrestling, it redirects you to GFW. I'm impressed. Somebody actually is keeping this stuff up.
Well, that's one thing I've noticed. I've noticed that since they've come back as Global Force Wrestling and out of the pits of Hades, they've actually been on top of all their social media. As I said, I'm getting press releases again, and when TNA were in their dying stage, nothing, absolute complete silence. So this move towards Global Force Wrestling, very open, very, very accessible, very up to date, on point, whatever you want to call it. It's cool, man. It's a really, really positive step forward, I think, for that company as a whole.
Which title change interests you the most, or were you most surprised by? And I'm, like you said, they're unified, not, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna put the results up on the screen for everybody. It wasn't that I was surprised by any of the title changes. It was that Lashley lost. Like, I thought he was going to win. I'm not a huge fan of Lashley. I think he's very boring, but the match itself was quite good, quite decent. But I was surprised to see Alberto Del Rio win and be booked so well. But
nope.
No,
screw that guy.
Yeah, well, we will get into that. We'll get into that. Trust me.
No, it just doesn't even have to do with. This doesn't have to do with any of the domestic stuff. Just screw that guy. How many companies does he join, become champion,
and then leave?
Yeah, but for crying out loud, it's a miracle Lucha Underground didn't give him the championship for like 12 minutes or something.
But whose fault is that? Who do you blame?
Alberto's. What do you mean whose fault is that?
No, like,
this guy's ridiculous.
I know, he is ridiculous, and I wouldn't give him the championship at all. I wouldn't even hire him. But, these companies cannot stop oh my God, he was in WWE. Let's hire him. Let's give him championships. It's like, no, stop doing that.
Stop doing it. WWE brings him back and has him not only a surprise return, but he beats John Cena in like 20 seconds or whatever it was for the championship.
Yeah.
What is going? I don't understand the obsession with Alberto. I don't understand. He doesn't interest me as a wrestler like that. Well, I've even seen some of his Dos Caras Jr. stuff, and I mean, come on, it's never been there. Is it just that he's a larger guy that happens to be Hispanic?
He's a name, dude.
He's a name, but I mean, that is a market that they try and reach. I mean, we're seeing that with Jinder Mahal. They do target specific, No,
well, I wouldn't say it's an ethnic thing. I would just say he's a name. Like when you put him on the screen, people are like, "Oh, I know this guy. He's Alberto Del Rio from WWE." And yes, it's like the whole Hulk Hogan thing. Hulk Hogan, the Freitas, that's how he traded and became the biggest name. But the difference is, at least, as much as I hate Hogan with a passion that burns with 1,000 suns, at least how dare you? He stayed around for a long period of time. He didn't just run away. But what was crazy about this is, it surprised me that he won. I thought Lashley, the way Impact Wrestling had up until that point booked him as their guy, he was their guy. Particularly when you lost all the guys who went to NXT and to WWE. So
he won the X Division championship, for crying out loud.
well, yeah, Sanjay Dutt. That was surprising. Well, look, I enjoyed that match. I really did. But like, Loki is a guy again who, based on his past history and his personality, I'm just not a huge fan of the guy anymore. So I didn't know who to cheer for. But I watched this in the gym. I watched this and Great Ball of Fire back to back, and yeah, man, like all throughout the show, there was only one match that I just did not care about at all. And that was the tag team match that, second match in with D'Angelo Williams and Eli Drake and the rest of the lads. Just was completely just a waste of 11 minutes. It just screamed filler. But I have to say, I loved the opener. The opener was phenomenal. Have you seen the show, Dave?
No, I haven't. That's why I said I get to learn from you. I'm looking at the results right now, and
okay. Well, what I will
you're not allowed to use phenomenal, by the way, when referring to TNGFW or whatever it is.
Okay,
it's not allowed.
Alphabet soup. They might change their name to something else next week. But okay, well, I'm going to run down the card for anybody who hasn't seen the show. So I'll do a quick review. So the Latin America Exchange LAX came back in their new form, with Homicide and Conan, being the managers, and they won a Lucha 4-way match to unify the Impact and GFW Tag Team Championships. But my favorite match on the card. If you watch nothing else on the show, watch that. It's fantastic. It really is. As I said, the match after it, throwaway tag team match. D'Angelo Williams and Moose ended up picking the win there. Ethan Carter III defeated James Storm in a strap match, which became a smudge at the end. Decent match. Ethan Carter III still very, very good talent. James Storm is what he is. I like James Storm, but not much really to say here. But a lot of blood, a lot of spots. Interesting. Jeremy Borash and Joseph Park, who came out as Abyss afterwards, or during the match, defeated Josh Matthews and Scott Steiner. A really, really fun match, Dave. You would dig it. You really would. It's right down your alley. It's random and strange. I think you'll really, really like the cameos as well. Shark Boy and stuff shows up. It's fantastic. I marked out, man, because James Mitchell comes out in the middle of the match to introduce Abyss.
Oh, wow.
And I was running on treadmill. I'm like, oh my God, yes, James Mitchell is back. I am just...
Whenever that happens, like if Paul Bearer returned,
yeah,
come on, Kane or Undertaker was winning that match, let's be honest.
Yes. Well, I love the story that they told. It was fun. It went from being a comedy match to being like a greatest hits kind of thing. And it tied into the theme of the show. This whole show felt like something from 2005 to 2007. It was one of those shows where, like,
well,
no, that's what it felt like.
Isn't that where we are?
Yeah. Well,
haven't we come full circle?
Well, we have, I think. TNA forgot what it was, and then died. Impact Wrestling never knew what it was, and GFW was like, oh, we're TNA circa 2005, 2007. That's what they needed to be, and that's what they were, and that's what this whole show felt like, was booked like, and the cameos and the people they had, they used them really, really well. And when Abyss came back, you're like, you know what? I think we can forget about all the stuff that TNA did to sully their name, because there is a good kernel of something left in that brand.
The only way you can get away with that claim is if you say the Dixie Carter era. Yes. Like if you're referring just to that era, because man, they did so much. They cheated so much that you just can't ever forgive as a fan. They cheated so much that they had to change the name of the company. I wouldn't say it was her, but like the people who the Congress thing though. Okay, I know that was bad. But it's see, this thing, I've been called a TNA apologist, and to an extent I am, but it's like they tried a lot. It was when they moved. I'm just taking their what was on the TV, not the rest of the stuff. But once they moved away and forgot what they were and what brought them to the dance and why people watched the show in the first place, that's when things went to hell. And that's when pretty much when Vince Russo was given a blank check and said, "Go do what you want. Oh, you want to book a reverse steel cage match?
Go for it. Oh, you want to book an upside down casket match? Go for it. Oh, you want to book an electrified steel cage match? Go for it. You know what I mean? And then when Hogan came in, it was the same thing, but he was bleeding money. You know, at least with the Vince Russo thing. Right.
But I think Hogan was the right move. I still do. I think it was carried out incorrectly, and this is a whole nother podcast.
Yes.
But I think it was a good idea at the time.
As
for Vince Russo, I own his book. I have one of his quotes on my Facebook profile, and I don't really like him.
Okay, Dave, let's switch gears from TNA and talk about WWE Great Balls of Fire. What match do you want to talk about?
I think Enzo was versus Big Cass was the next one, right?
Yeah, and
that was it was exactly what it was supposed to be. It was exactly what you expected it to be, and it's exactly what it was.
Yeah,
you know,
a bit of a squash. What do you make of?
Well,
sorry, go on.
Sorry, no, I was gonna say. I mean, and I'm okay with it. I'm not. We'll address the tag team splitting up, but as far as the match goes, I'm okay with it. Enzo has no right whatsoever in any real world scenario beating Big Cass. So thank you, WWE, for some realism. I appreciate that.
Well, it makes sense. You know, like that whole team really was Cass doing the legwork and Enzo just kind of being the mouthpiece. So I don't know. I wouldn't really be upset about that. You know, it's what makes sense. You know, Big Cass's role is to like beat people up.
Right, and if Cass loses, it hurts him. If Enzo loses, it doesn't hurt him at all.
Yeah, because you know, from what I hear anyway on the interwebs, it looks like both Enzo might be on his way out, and Cass has a lot of heat on him. So,
really?
Yeah, because apparently Cass is a Donald Trump supporter, and that's made him very unpopular.
But Vince McMahon, the entire McMahon family was in Trump's office. I don't understand.
Yeah, but
they got a picture together.
They did.
What?
I don't know. It's
Linda McMahon works for him. That's her job. She gets a paycheck.
I don't know. It's just what I've heard on the interwebs. But don't believe everything you hear on the interwebs, as you say. But
yeah, according to interwebs, Brock Lesnar's coming back to MMA too. So you know, take it with a grain of salt.
Really?
Yes. Spoiler alert: he's not. Did you miss that little rumor mill at start? It was like 2 days ago.
Did miss that? Wow, that's not happening.
Not even. I asked him about it. He's like, nope.
That's not even a little bit happening. Like, sorry guys.
Not. The news report was that his 1-year suspension is now over, and that he is officially re-entering the test protocols for drugs, which you have to do for 4 months, and he would be making his return in Madison Square Garden in November. That was the big rumor. Complete bull crap. Absolutely not true whatsoever. The guy who started the story even came out and said it's not true. So,
yeah,
but it was an exciting about hour and a half of my life.
Yeah, I just don't ever see that happening. You know, I know they say never, but yeah, it's never happening. Particularly, yeah, Brock Lesnar's too much of a sweet gig now. You know, he's getting paid to work 4 minutes every couple of months.
Is
so moving on to that team in general. Like, what do you think the future holds for both of those guys? Do you think?
Well, I didn't think anything until you just told me about that, so it totally changed my perspective.
Yeah, man, it's all over
the future holds.
Like, I don't think it'll affect them on camera, but definitely backstage there's a bit of heat anyway. Apparently.
I mean, I'm just gonna call it without the rumor mill and say that Cass, I don't see going anywhere. He's very athletic. He's very tall. But we have a bunch of them right now. He kind of came at the wrong time. And Enzo's going to do, if, you know, again, providing, Enzo's going to do phenomenal because people love to listen to him on the mic for some reason. I don't know. Whenever Enzo talks on the mic, all I hear is bloop. That's me fast forwarding and then pressing play again on my DVR.
Yeah, I've never, like, I liked his stuff on NXT. I thought that was fun, but I never liked the full package kind of thing. You know, I'm like, it's kind of a bit lame, you know.
For sure. Gosh, here's your TNA GFW tie-in. Are you as shocked as I was to see freaking Dixie Carter, even if it was only in a video package, featured on WWE Air? What?
Yeah, I told you about this, and you were like, "No, there's no way."
I didn't believe you. I watched. I missed it somehow. Well, I probably went to get a drink or something when they were previewing the Sheamus Cesaro match. But wow.
Yeah, man. Like
Wow.
that's actually a thing that's happening now in 2017. But like, I don't see why. Why
if you're somebody who has been following wrestling since 2005, just how ridiculous everything right now is. I'm just even the Wikipedia page for Global Force Wrestling /TNA, founded by Jeff Jarrett, then like lists people, and then it goes to current owner Jeff Jarrett. No, but everyone's like, no, GFW is not some sort of plot to overtake TNA. That'll never happen. Oh, now Dixie's on WWE TV. What is going on?
Keck.
Don't get it.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Me and Magic. We went through some portal and everything is strange. Everything is.
I've been yelling to people. 2012 actually happened. You just didn't realize it. It happened. Look at the evidence.
We just went to a different portal. It's like, oh,
exactly.
Everything is bizarre. But like, I didn't think WWE would ever even acknowledge TNA unless they bought it. And then if they did buy it, they would be like, right. Yeah, it was a joke, But to actually see them have Dixie Carter there and talk about Kurt Angle's time there, and it's just like, oh
yeah, and they did lowball TNA an offer when they were selling, which because they had no interest in the company. I don't know if that's true. It could be a rumor. I read it online. Don't believe anything I say. But supposedly the WWE lowballed them an offer because they want the video library.
Yes,
because of having AJ and just everybody else now on the roster. I mean, so much material WWE fans will never get to see. Even the Hardy Boys, who are hot right now, they could put out a new Hardy DVD. Put some stuff from TNA in. It's...
Well, I don't know. I think that might still happen someday. Something will work out. There'll be some kind of deal brokered between the two. Because I don't feel that WDB would let that go. There's too much money to be made. There's too much opportunity there for WWE to benefit from it, particularly with everybody who's on the roster right now. It doesn't make any sense for me to.
But
for them to leave it go.
On the other hand, they still haven't bought PWI, so
yeah, I suppose.
And they always give them credit. And by the way, matter of fact, I've had 2 meetings with the guy who runs PWI because I used to completely coincidentally I used to bartend across the street from the Pro Wrestling Illustrated office. So I met with him a couple times. And such, and the owner actually frequented the bar, so he's the one that set the meetings up for me. So it was interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Inside look at this hailed wrestling publication, kind of one of those you meet your heroes and you're like, oh, damn, I don't think I'm gonna read the 500 anymore.
Yeah, it's well, you know what they say though, never meet your heroes. Never.
Not that he was my hero, but you know what I mean.
Still, like, yeah. It's when you get a look behind the curtain, you don't particularly ever want to.
Exactly.
You can't enjoy the show again. Funny story. That's why I can't enjoy Game of Thrones as much as everybody else. It sucks. It really does. Like,
who'd you meet?
I was on the show.
You were on. Oh, you know what?
A few times.
I've kind of heard bits and pieces of this. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been on the show. I was in season 3, and I was in not the current season, the season before it. And after I did it the first time, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of over it now. And then it was like the biggest show ever, so I kind of know what you mean. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a really fun production to be on, and it's a phenomenal show, but I'm like, yeah, when you're on set for like 20 hours, you're like, you know what? Kind of had my fill of this. But no, man, it's just, I know exactly what you mean. It kind of sucks when you see that level of behind the scene kind of thing, and it doesn't go as well as you hoped or as you built up. It's like,
definitely not what I thought it was. But I don't want to say anything else because insider stuff that
exactly
they don't necessarily want to get. Exactly. But Sheamus and Cesaro,
yes. Well, before that,
30-minute Iron Man match, which was hailed as the greatest tag team 30-minute Iron Man match in history, which could be true because I've never seen another one.
I think I've seen one in TNA, but I can't verify that. So let's just say it's the best one.
Might as well.
I can't. It was great. It was really, really good. Like, I didn't hate it. I thought like the way they booked it was incredibly interesting with the whole 20-second brogue kick to the face and pinfall, and then the Hardys coming from behind and stuff. They told a really, really good story. A story that I honestly didn't expect going into it. You know, as I said, I was on the treadmill watching this game. I didn't know what's going to happen here, but you know, I might as well watch it because I have nothing else to do.
I was so glad about that brogue kick at the beginning, not just because they did it, because I do like that when they hit a finisher at the start, but what I really liked about it is the Hardys didn't then turn around and immediately do one of their finishers, because that's usually what happens in that situation, and then it kind of loses all effect. Triple H had a match against somebody, and it's skipping my mind, where the match started with him hitting a pedigree or getting hit by the other guy's finisher, whichever it was, and like, oh, this is going to be fun. He's going to be tired the whole match. The other wrestler's going to be full of energy, but then he turned around and hit his finisher, and it just evened out the playing field again. So I liked how they handled that.
I believe
in this Iron Man match.
I believe one of those matches was Triple H's first WrestleMania with Warrior, where Triple H hit the pedigree and Warrior no-sold it completely and then just destroyed him and pinned him in like less than a minute.
I believe that too.
That's what happened. It's on Warrior's DVD, and you know, not the good one. Actually, no, sorry, the good one, but it's the hack job one before he came back.
I gotcha.
Which is still one of the most fun WWE DVDs to watch. It's just totally just berating somebody who can't defend themselves. It's like,
not at all. And I mean, read the guy's blog. That's all I gotta say. Read the dude's blog.
Yeah, it was not as bad as the comments on the WCW DVD, where it's like Jeff Jarrett broke, 1,000 guitars and never drew a dime. It's like, oh, that's a harsh statement.
Drew a whole company.
I like Jeff Jarrett,
Yeah.
But the WWE.
At least Jeff Jarrett was smart enough to use a fake guitar, unlike who was it? They used a real guitar in the. Was it on Raw? Somebody used a real guitar and like gashed open their opponent.
No, I think you're confusing with Goldberg. He used real glass and
No. This was recent. This was in like the past 2 weeks. Sorry, listeners. Really? You listen to me like trying to remember something in my head. It was in a recap I read, and It was noted by Adam, because I think it was one of his, that said shocked that they didn't use a fake guitar or gimmick guitar.
Yeah, like to be fair, when a fake guitar has been used, you can it can break way too early.
True.
and
it shoots powder, which I'm pretty sure if I blow up my acoustic guitar, it will not shoot any powder out.
No, unless you put powder in it. But who does that? What kind of madness is that? But yeah, I don't know. I can't call to mind. Listeners, if you know who it is, tweet us at WViDesk 2016, because I can't remember. Or just leave it in the chat below or comments below or whatever. Whatever you YouTube people are going to do, because I'm still getting used to the YouTubes.
YouTube people, yeah.
YouTube people.
I got to say that I really, really liked this match. But then I hated it.
Why? What happened?
Absolutely despite. I'll tell you why.
Okay, I'm interested.
Because of the champion's advantage, right? Yes. All they needed to do to win was to tie.
Yeah.
And then they get to keep the belts, right?
Yes.
That's the concept?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody was hailing the final 2 minutes of this Iron Man match of absolutely unbelievable. However, the score was Hardy's 3, Cesaro and Sheamus 4. And when they did that big dramatic Cesaro rolls out of the ring and then rolls back in, and Hardy almost pins him, but there's just not enough time left. Well, even if there was enough time left and he pulled off that pin, the score would have been 4-4, and the Hardys still would have lost. So how was I supposed to feel any tension in that moment?
Because you're not supposed to remember that.
I'm supposed to forget about that?
Yeah. It's like the whole, the champion can't defend, will lose his belt if he doesn't defend every 30 days. The old Jack Tunney rule. Yeah, you're not supposed to remember that.
Dude, but come on, man. That bothered me in this match. And I didn't catch it the first time.
I know.
Because I watched this pay-per-view twice. And the first time I watched it, I thought it was absolutely excellent. Second time I watched it, I was like, wait a minute, this is complete crap.
I know.
This doesn't make any sense.
I know
whatsoever.
I agree with you. But the story that those guys were going in to tell, was to build the tension. And look, you bought it. I didn't notice it. I'm looking at the results now. I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of exactly what happened. But, they sucked us in, and that's what they were supposed to do. That's their goal, to sell you on the match. And the 4 guys in there were incredibly talented. And, I would say that wrestling ties itself up into this by not being a real sport. That's the problem. If it was a real sport, it wouldn't be that boring. Every match would be like 20 seconds. But in this case, I think we just weren't supposed to remember that,
Commentators mentioned it earlier in the match.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
God damn it.
There was one point where Michael because they were
Cole.
even talking
No.
like, oh man, if this ends up in a tie, I really hope we get overtime. And Michael Cole's like, hey guys, settle down. Like, there's still a lot more time left in this match.
See, this is why it's easier to be a TNA apologist than it is a WWE apologist. TNA do stupid crap, and then they hang a lampshade on it. WWE just go, yeah, what about it? And you're like, no. You make it so hard to actually defend you guys. Oh, wow. But look, I'm looking forward to the return match. It will probably be at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
Is what they're probably going to go for, unless the Hardys break up, which they may have teased. It seemed like they're going more and more in recent weeks towards the broken gimmick, like they're trying to do it. I know that it's still on the fence if they're going to actually be able to bring in the broken gimmick, but that I got a sense in this match that that's what they were kind of gearing towards.
Yeah. It's always interesting when a wrestler is outside the WWE gimmick is all of a sudden kind of brought in, and you're like, I've seen this gimmick before. They did it with CM Punk. The Punk versus Raven feud was similar to the Punk versus Chris Jericho feud.
Yeah.
As one example.
Yeah. And also when he went against Jeff Hardy as well is very, very similar to it as well.
Sure.
I enjoyed those feuds a lot, actually. I would have to say. Punk's run, when he wasn't being the best in the world kind of thing, when he was actually going in and telling these stories, right. They were always.
I had nothing wrong with them, don't get me wrong. I thought they were great. That was just, the comparison.
No, you're right. 100%. Actually, really quick, some of our listeners may not be aware of this, but there is talk and there is more rumors that Punk might be coming back. And it is not, it is not that crazy. It is not that crazy. There's been several mentions of Punk recently and also on WWE television.
True.
Jeff Hardy mentioned Punk by name. Actually, he name dropped him recently, and it was mentioned.
Jeff Hardy, who knows?
Well, it was mentioned on Twitter, and Punk didn't shoot it down straight away or at all.
That's interesting. If he did,
which is interesting.
If he did, it would because of a. It would be. You're welcome, listeners. See, we don't edit this crap.
Nope.
It would be because of AJ.
Yes.
If he wasn't married to her, I would say zero chance whatsoever. But before we get too far away from the, again, bringing gimmicks thing, they're doing it. I don't know if anybody else, I'm probably the only person that has any idea this is happening. But Drew Gulak's current gimmick on 205 Live, like the campaigning thing, I used to go to CZW events where you would go in and he would, before his matches, before the show starts, put up signs all over saying like vote for Drew and stand up for Drew and all these things. That's another gimmick that's interesting to being brought into WWE that I've seen before.
I like that. I think that's cool. That's a cool idea.
I'd like it more if I've ever seen 205 Live.
You're not missing much. You're really not missing
much. That was my show. I was like, forget Raw, forget SmackDown. I'm watching 205 Live.
Well, the problem with 205 Live, and there's many, the main one being that, like, it's guys who are known for doing crazy stuff, doing headlocks. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, you fundamentally do not understand what you have here, guys. This is, you know what the are? 205 Live is like the Fox towards WWE's Marvel. You know, Fox have no idea how to make a Fantastic Four movie, but Marvel would make an awesome Fantastic Four movie. And that's exactly what you have here. You have guys who have a product, they don't know what to do, so they try to make it their own way, and it spectacularly flops, and then they're looking around going, "Hey, why did this fail? I thought it was
failed
awesome."
because the Cruiserweight Invitational, or whatever it was officially called, was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Amara's commentary on it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the matches they were having, why aren't they still having those same types of matches?
Because I don't think Vince or any of the main guys who book Raw watched that. I don't even think they knew it was happening.
I believe that.
And then when they were like, "Oh, well, who are all these guys?" Okay, well, they're not going to do that flippy dippy stuff. They're going to do headlocks and tell stories. It's like, no, they're not here to do that. But see, no one will say that. No one will be.
No, I love Brian Kendrick, but come on, man.
Yeah, you
shouldn't be one of the first champions. You're not the current crop of even TJP. Again, like him, but no, buddy.
No,
you could have had Kota Ibushi as your champion.
I don't know why they didn't have Kota Ibushi. I don't know why they didn't have.
You get so many guys that were phenomenal in that tournament. And no, they're going with guys like Drew Gulak and Jack Gallagher and stuff who, sorry, no offense to them, but I used to go get food while you guys wrestled at the indie shows I watched. I'm sorry.
But dude, look, until someone in WWE stands up and goes, "Hey, look, this is awful. Let's not do any of this. You're dropping the ball." That's not going to happen, because they get fired. So... they're just yeah. That's just as much as we want as wrestling fans for that to happen. It's not going to, because at the end of the day, it's WWE. WWE are going to do what they want, and it's spite themselves. They'll make money, as Punk said. I do think that 205 Live in about 2 or 3 years might be done correctly, but right now it's just train wreck, absolute train wreck.
The only good thing coming out of it is it looks like they're getting rid of the purple ropes.
Thank God for that. Those ropes are...
And I hated them, so I'm glad they're going.
I hate...
Women's championship match.
Oh, God. No. I don't want to see Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss ever again.
I want to see Alexa Bliss every single day of my life. As far as wrestling goes, not so sure.
Okay, well, yeah. Let me rephrase that. I agree with that statement, but in the wrestling ring, no way. Because it's awful. It's really... Sasha Banks, she's kind of...
What amazes me about Sasha Banks more than anything else is the fact that she has never once violated the WWE's drug protocols.
Really?
And she's cousins with Snoop Dogg. How is that possible?
Wow. Is she actually cousins with Snoop Dogg?
That's I don't know. You asked me, and now I'm not so sure. You make me doubt everything, Darragh. But yeah, I'm pretty sure she's cousins with Snoop Dogg. Wow,
that's pretty cool. It must be one heck of a family reunion, But okay, let's get into we didn't talk about Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins, but that match was pretty much a non-story, so whatever.
Right. And I can, just to interject, and I apologize. I'm not crazy. Yes, she is a first cousin, so we're not even talking distant relative of Snoop Dogg. And, don't know how I forgot this, Snoop Dogg rapped her to the ring at WrestleMania 32.
Yes, he did. Now it explains why. Okay.
Yep.
You can see I put that on mute because I can't stand his music. So
I don't like the way he raps.
I don't like rap at all, man. You know me, I'm not a rap guy. It's not my cup of tea. Give me Taylor Swift anytime,
Give me old Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Not poppy Taylor Swift.
Well, she was country?
Yeah.
Yeah, her country.
Teardrops on My Guitar.
Man.
Picture to Burn. Like, come on. These are good songs.
Yeah, they actually are.
You're welcome, wrestling fans.
Why not bring her on the show? Bring up ratings. The funny part is I'm only like half joking. Actually, WWE, don't do that. Anyone, concerts and wrestling are always bad, no matter who it is. It's always a bad move. I can't think of one time, like even Motorhead, when Motorhead were on WrestleMania 17 singing Triple H to the ring. Lemmy was so drunk he forgot all the lyrics. So
yes, I've seen that Botchamania. It's so funny.
It's hilarious.
Where he puts the subtitles underneath it and what it's supposed to be.
Oh man,
has there ever been a good one? There's the one just on the top of my head that I can't remember that wasn't terrible, but yeah, not really.
Okay.
I mean, Punk's theme, by
Oh yeah, okay. That actually wasn't so bad.
It was good.
You know, I liked the inversion of it almost by accident that at WrestleMania 15 in 1998 with the DX band. I like the inversion of that trope where, you know, they played America the Beautiful and everybody like booed the hell out of it, but then they did DX and stuff. I thought that was cool. You know, it's like they really are messing with that. Now, if it was done on purpose, it's very earnest, but if it was just bad for the sake because it was bad, then that ruins my point. But I thought it was cool then, you know, because it kind of did kind of feed into that that theme that they're going for. But I can't think of a time where it's been decent. Aside from,
it's been pretty bad.
Yeah, it's just not a good move, and it's expensive as well. You know, like how much did that Machine Gun Kelly garbage cost? Probably a lot.
Oh yeah. Man. Machine Gun Kelly is like a nobody either.
Yeah, like
which is what baffles me. Like before people say you don't know anything about Machine Gun Kelly, listen, I saw him do the Hot Ones episode of The Wings where he did that interview. Okay, like, I'm familiar with him and what goes on behind his craft, and who he's a I know him. It just wasn't good. Just, you know.
I know who you are.
I hate when somebody says, "Oh, you don't like it because you're just ignorant of it." No, I don't like it because it sucks.
Like there are certain things that can apply to, but you know, even in his wheelhouse, he's not good. He's not considered good. So
no.
You know,
but then again, I did replay his WrestleMania theme song, not the live one, the actual CD one, like probably 50 times because I did like that song.
Yeah, that's probably just because it's been indoctrinated into your brain. It's like what's it?
Yeah, you hear it 5 times a week.
What was it like? Written in the Stars? Was that the one, or was that a different one?
Oh, he wasn't Written in Stars. He was but it was the same WrestleMania as that.
Yeah, that Written in the Stars thing. Oh
so
man,
good.
But that was used. That was used a couple of months later for the World Cup, I believe. So I'm like, oh my God, here it is again. You're having Vietnam flashbacks going, oh my God, not again. Why is this still playing? You just can't get rid of it.
Was it Invincible?
Yes, that was his.
That
was
what it was. Great song.
Yeah, but, you know.
I don't know why we're talking about Machine Gun Kelly, but.
Because the crimes of music and wrestling need to be remembered.
I don't understand why they didn't bring Justin Bieber in. I'm still waiting.
He's banned from China now, apparently.
I saw him had to purify the culture.
Oh my God, it's hilarious. Oh man, meme magic. That's the world we're in. It's hilarious. Purify the culture. Oh my God. See, if he was smart, he'd put that on a t-shirt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He should run to town with that.
Exactly. It's just like, oh man, banned in this country. You know, there you go. That's just PR right yourself, you know. But anyway.
It's not like he has to worry about his Chinese fans getting offended by it. Their government's not going to give them access to that part of the internet where he talks about that. Come on. Of course not. It's fine. You have nothing to lose, buddy. Do it.
Do you want to know something funny? When he was in Ireland a couple of months ago, he was like, I went to university outside of Dublin. And he was in like in a nacho place that's like my university town is really small, like it's tiny. Like there's literally the university, a huge church where they teach priests, and then like a town, and then a McDonald's, and that's about it. And apparently he was just there in the nacho place having nachos, and a girl took a picture of him, and then he like reported her, and it's like, what? It's so funny. It's just, there was a whole big scandal made about it in Ireland. It's like, okay, this is ridiculous. But anyway, if you're ever in Ireland, go to Maynooth. Maynooth is very, very nice. It's old school. But,
who goes to Ireland and it's like, you know what, I want nachos.
Yeah, I'm like, of all the things as well, it's like nachos in Maynooth aren't even that, like they're okay, but it's like, you know, there's better food there, but whatever. He's a millionaire, and the picture is hilarious. He's just sitting there on his phone, and you're like, this is madness. But anyway,
man.
Speaking of madness, The Miz and Dean Ambrose. I am so disinterested by Dean Ambrose now. And it hurts me to say, because I was a huge fan of Dean Ambrose, but why Dave? Why don't I like him? What's going on? What happened?
because he's not living up to his full potential. And I know that because I watched the pay-per-view, and like I said, I went back and I rewatched it, and I had zero memory whatsoever of them having a match until I watched it the second time. I was like, when did this happen? How did I miss this? And it was just bad. Why don't you like him? Because he does the same thing. He doesn't really have a character because they didn't run with him when he was hot like that. And he's not. Then the people who are like hardcore Dean Ambrose fans are never going to get to see the kind of stuff that they liked him for pre-WWE. He has no interest in doing anything even similar to that. So what's really left there? The biggest pop that I've gotten from Ambrose was at the TLC match against AJ when he did his old CZW finisher through the 4 chairs that were set up in the ring. That ended up tearing AJ's tights. I mean, yeah, but that's the most exciting thing that I've seen from Ambrose in a while. I hate I believe it's from Nigel McGuinness, the fallback, the rebound, clothesline thing. I hate that. Hate it.
Like, it's just because everything that was interesting about him is gone. You know, everybody loved him because he was cerebral and
right, he was an enigma.
Exactly, and he was interesting. And then that was ruined by him doing dumb comedy for no reason. And
the hot dog cart out to the ring.
Yeah, it's like, man, Roman Reigns, everybody thought he was going to be the lame duck of the Shield, but Ambrose took everything away, either himself or they took everything away from him that made him unique and interesting. And now he's just, still fumbling around for the IC belt. I do like that Curtis Axel is actually doing something, and I like his role with Bo Dallas, with The Miz, his entourage. I think that's kind of fun. So The Miz is fine, he's still kind of leveled out. It's just Dean Ambrose, and he lost this match. So, and the sad truth is here. If he got released in the morning, I wouldn't notice,
And it's a shame because like I said, back in those Jon Moxley days, I couldn't have been more shocked and excited for him to get a WWE contract.
Yeah.
Same way with Drake. Like, I was so excited for these guys to come out of those promotions. But let's get to this Reigns match. Because I really do want to talk about these last 2 matches before we run out of time.
Yeah, it's okay. I wasn't expecting Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns to be as good as it was. Fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Like a really... look, ambulance matches, I said it, Adam, look, I don't like them. They're boring, but these guys did something special. And talk about the match a little bit, Dave.
Well, let's start with the finish. It was telegraphed a mile away.
Yeah.
And the second that they pulled the stuff out of the way to get into the ambulance, I was like, oh, Roman's either going to spear him in or he's going to get, just launch himself into ambulance, which is hysterical. I've seen a gif of it. It's just on loop, just watching Roman dive and get shut in. But this match had the best botch I've ever seen, at least in recent memory, in terms of funny and hilarious ones, because this is obviously an ambulance match, and you cannot pin or submit an opponent during an ambulance match, a fact that was made clear to us many, many a time.
Yes.
I'm okay with a wrestler forgetting that, because it happens a lot.
It does.
It's not the botch itself that I enjoy, and I hopefully we can put a link to this on the YouTube channel later.
Yes, we will.
Because I made a little clip of it. So Strowman slams Reigns down to the mat, goes to pin him. Obviously, the referee lets him know, like, hey, you can't pin him. Braun gets up, looks around with no idea what to do next. And this is where, if it was anybody else, the fans would have been screaming at him and booing him and all this. But no, he just looks left to right, raises his hands up into the air, lets out a roar, and the whole crowd joins in and cheers with him. It was amazing. I've never... this guy is so over. If you don't realize how over that guy is, he got cheers for botching a move. That's incredible.
He got himself over. He is incredibly over. So fair play.
Yeah.
But what I will say, what the guys did in this match, wasn't super different. It was very by the numbers. But the end of the match, obviously Braun Strowman won by kind of outsmarting Roman Reigns pretty much.
Basically, yeah. I thought it was a good ending. I hated the crap after it.
Oh my god! Well, look, if it had ended there and then continued on to Raw, was fair enough. But what we had after that was Roman Reigns literally attempting to murder someone on pay-per-view. Like there's no way to like dress this up. He did literally try to murder a man.
Yeah, he tried to kill him.
And it's not like
not only that.
Sorry, go on.
WWE totally ruined it again, and then they do this with backstage segments all the time. I've said it before. The camera angles were ridiculous looking. They were absurd.
Yeah.
There's no reason for a camera to be set up at that angle. And I know, suspend your disbelief. It's a TV show. Blah blah blah. I preach those things myself, but in the moment. It was once again Rock vs. Mankind, an empty arena match.
Exactly.
When you see that camera shot at the forklift,
ruins the entire match.
Yeah.
And that's what happened here. People were like, "Oh, this is stupid." It's like the whole thing was kind of stupid, but now it's got to the point where I can't anymore with this, you know. And the fact there were no real repercussions. Roman Reigns wasn't arrested. Which you think, it wasn't a match. He just assaulted someone and tried to run a car into him. It's like, oh, okay. So
which is bizarre because if it's okay to assault someone outside of a match, then how come Alberto got kicked out of the company? I don't. I know it wasn't an active wrestler, but again, screw that guy.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like there is this kind of mindset where. They're sending mixed messages here, because like obviously everything just happened in the ring, and okay, I get it. Braun Strowman's the heel, but trying to murder somebody is about as heel as you can get, Arguably that's more heelish than anything he's done, I just don't understand it. I don't get what the point of this was. It didn't do anything for me. It made Roman Reigns look weak.
It did.
It really did.
It's interesting to see the amount of blood that they're bringing back to WWE. Now, you can't count Matt Hardy because, that was an accident. I'm assuming. Assuming that was the hard way.
Yeah, that was.
But, they used the blood packet again for Braun.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because on one hand, they're stopping matches, or Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor. They're stopping matches to fix guys up that are bleeding, and then the other half of the time they're putting blood in. It's like there's no pick a side, like pick a stance. WWE, what's it going to be? Are we no blood? Are we blood? Are we blood only on pay-per-views? Are we not? Why are we getting blood in this scenario, which is a throwaway, and yet we're having Hell in a Cell matches where there's no like? I'm not even advocating for blood in wrestling. I'm advocating for consistency.
Well, speaking of consistency, what did you think of the Heath Slater Kurt Hawkins match? Which because they kept it on the TV so I go watch it. No, I don't know. I have no idea. We didn't even get to see it. Yeah, what was the point of it? Like it wasn't. It made no sense. It was like, okay, they don't want. That wasn't part of the show. They're supposed to kind of just continue on like normal. But then they cut away and focus on. It's like, WWE, what are you doing? Like, what am I supposed to focus on here? This is ridiculous. Imagine being in that arena.
That's a great point, because if the WWE is purposely putting on a match because they want to get away from what's happening, then why are you spending the match focusing on what's happening? That's a really good point.
It made no sense. It was like, look, I get it, WWE. I know what you've been doing. I've been a fan most of my life. But you're doing two contradictory things here at the same time. It was ridiculous. And I felt legit, like, one, I'm happy Heath Slater got a win on pay-per-view. Go him. However, I feel bad for the lads because it's like the match, I don't know how it ended. See the end. It was dumb, and it took a lot of the starch out of what was a great match. Can't take anything away from Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman in the match itself. No. Stellar. And it left me a bit like deflated going into the main event. But what do you think about that overall? Again, something else that we didn't expect to happen at all, you know, the way they'd build it up. But then again, when you think about it, you're like, well, of course Brock was going to win. There's no way Samoa Joe was going to win here. However, the way they set it up, I can't see Samoa Joe winning at SummerSlam.
Okay, because I only watched SmackDown this week, and I watched most of Raw. Did Samoa Joe beat Reigns at the end of Raw?
I haven't seen it yet, but I do think there.
Oh well, they had
they did. They had some
main event of Raw was number one contenders match between Reigns and Samoa Joe.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it. It happened.
Yeah, it did happen. But no,
but we have no idea. So we're just gonna say, hey, wouldn't they be great if they had a rematch?
No.
Somebody listening's like, you fools!
You fools! God, do your research. No, but no. What I mean is, no matter what happens, I do. Sorry, yeah, it's no contest. No contest.
Oh, it was a no contest ending. Okay.
No contest ending.
So we still don't know.
So
okay.
No, that's what I'm saying. I do.
So we can still speculate.
No, it's not speculating. It's what they're setting up. You know, they like Braun Strowman attacked Roman Reigns, so it ended.
No soul getting killed.
Yeah, I know. It's.
I don't get. But
oh my god,
what I liked about the Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar match is that you don't fool around when you get in the ring with Brock Lesnar. And a lot of people are like, Lesnar only knows so many moves, like you can't wrestle. But that's not true. If you watch early Lesnar, the guy can wrestle.
Yeah.
If you watch current Lesnar, you know, even going back to, was it WrestleMania 31 or whatever, he's a phenomenal, maybe not wrestler, but a phenomenal sports entertainer.
Yeah.
When that guy shows pain, when that guy reacts, when that guy makes facial expressions, you believe it. I don't know if we believe it because we think that he doesn't want to be there, so these are actual reactions, or what the deal is. But Lesnar is phenomenal at telling stories with his body in the ring, and then you add Heyman on top of it to tell the story outside of the ring, and it's a golden package. But when you fight a guy like Brock Lesnar, you can't fool around. You're not going in there starting to like grapple and all this nonsense. No, it's like you're playing a video game and you get to the boss. You are using your finisher after your finisher after your finisher, because that is the only thing that's going to take this guy down. You are constantly giving it every bit of energy that you can.
That's a very good point.
Sitting there and like slowly shooting him with a pistol, that's not going to lower its damage any. You gotta bring your full ultimate in, or whatever game you're playing, you know? And that's what a match with Brock Lesnar should be.
You're right.
And that's what this match was. It wasn't a squash. Samoa Joe, of all people, don't know why WWE's running with him, but Samoa Joe, he looked ridiculously strong coming out of this match, and they fought it the way it should have been fought.
You're right. I think Brock he's not only the final boss of a game, he's like the RPG boss of a game. You know, Japanese RPG where like the health is ridiculous.
Where you think you kill him and then he comes back and he brings minions and a new form of attack on top of you with full health. That's Brock Lesnar.
That's true, and that's how I see it. You know, that's a very, very good point. But what I'm still gonna go with my prediction, and we'll probably talk about it in on SummerSlam week if it happens or not. How much they set up here, because compared to past matches and past times in WWE where they'd have 4 or 5 pay-per-views to build up, they do kind of have to stagger this out now because of the brand split. So the next show is a SmackDown show, and then we go into to SummerSlam. So we will have to see the landscape and how much that changes in a couple of months. But Dave, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show again, for helping me out, particularly with all technical issues. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And, what we're going to do is now we're going to do a stream every week. More than likely either on Saturday or Sunday. And the show's going to go out on Monday nights at 11 p.m. Irish time, or Greenwich Mean Time, for everyone else. But if you guys want to interact with us directly, send us an email, WViDesk2016@gmail.com. Leave a comment below this video on YouTube. Listen live, and you can call in as well. And we're going to try to do a stream. Oh no, we are going to do a stream every single week. with interviews and stuff like that as well. But Dave, I want to thank you so much for coming on, sir. It's an absolute pleasure. I really enjoy doing shows with you, I must say.
Oh, I love it, and I hope you continue success with the show, and I hope to be back in the future at some point.
Awesome. Is there anything you'd like to plug before we wrap up here?
Add me on Twitter at @TheDaveStevens.